hasn't always been an easy relationship when it comes to Mexico and America. In fact, Mexico has been a thorn in America's side for decades when it comes to drugs. But forget about the war on drugs. Now it's a war on eggs. That's right. Thanks to skyrocketing prices, desperate Americans are sneaking eggs from Mexico as though they're the new contraband. Border agents who once seized kilos of cocaine are now cracking down on crates of eggs. But what's driving this bizarre black market, and why are Americans resorting to egg running like it's an episode of Narcos? Hello and welcome. You're watching Statecraft with me, Geeta Mohan. Eggs have long been a symbol of affordability, nutrition, and accessibility across the world. Whether scrambled, fried, or baked into a cake, they are a dietary staple in American households. But in 2025, eggs have become an economic flashpoint, with prices skyrocketing due to a combination of avian influenza, supply chain disruptions, and rising feed costs. The crisis has sparked a black market trade of smuggled eggs from Mexico, where prices remain significantly lower. At the heart of this issue is a supply shock caused by the ongoing outbreak of highly pathogenic avian influenza, that is HPAI, commonly known as bird flu. The virus has decimated poultry farms, leading to the culling of millions of egg-laying hens. By February 2025, over 30 million commercial layers had been affected, severely impacting supply and pushing prices to record highs. While bird flu has been a recurring issue, its current impact is particularly devastating due to compounding factors like labor shortages and supply chain inefficiencies lingering from the COVID-19 pandemic.
The eggs are like gold right now. I've had a steady customer base for years, so I was already doing a good business, but I used to have enough surplus eggs to sell to retailers who resold them at farmers markets and stuff like that. But I have been selling out every day, and I've had at least 5 new customers a week since this egg shortage started. So I haven't had any extra to sell to the retailers at all. I had to ask people to keep it to 2 dozen because I'm afraid some people have been coming in and buying all the eggs and then reselling them, which is not really fair to the other customers that come in and then there's nothing for them. Eggs, you need them for so many things, for so many recipes, for baking, and lots of people just eat them just for breakfast, but you find out that you need them for so many other things, and it's just a staple, like milk or bread. It's just one of those things that you got to have it.
Simultaneously, inflation and global economic instability have exacerbated the situation. The cost of poultry feed has surged, and fuel prices have made transportation more expensive, further straining the supply chain. As a result, consumers and businesses alike are feeling the pinch. Restaurants are adding surcharges for egg-based dishes. Grocery stores are enforcing purchase limits, and food banks are struggling to keep up with demand.
Eggs are really important. We go through a lot of eggs. They're usually $46 a case, and right now they're $146 a case. So we're spending about $4,000 on eggs alone every month. But we use a lot of eggs. That's why people come here for breakfast a lot. So we have an additional $2 on every dish that includes eggs. And we haven't had any complaints, really. Most people will read it and you hear them read it out loud, but they don't say anything negative following. So it's been okay. It's been going well. A lot of people, they read it out loud and they go, oh yeah, we understand. We see it at the store. And so it's been pretty positive, no complaints.
Poultry feed prices have soared due to inflation and disruptions in global grain markets. Higher feed costs translate directly to higher costs for farmers, which are then passed down to consumers in the form of higher egg prices. Egg demand naturally spikes during certain times of the year, such as around Easter and during the holiday baking season. This seasonal demand, combined with ongoing supply shortages, further intensifies price increases.
We're just getting less than what we order from our suppliers, and we're compensating by occasionally limiting what customers can buy and seeking alternate suppliers for more product. Oh, everyone's paying more. We're paying significantly more than we were middle of last year or late last year. And our customers are also paying significantly more than they were last year.
For the average American household, the price surge has meant making difficult choices at the grocery store. Many families have cut back on eggs or are seeking alternatives such as plant-based substitutes despite their higher costs. Restaurants, bakeries, and food manufacturers that rely heavily on eggs have been hit hard. Some have had to raise menu prices, while others have opted to remove certain egg-heavy dishes altogether.
It's mixed. I mean, some people have been keeping up with sort of, the shortage of eggs, and so they're not surprised, and other people, are upset because food's really expensive. But people still keep coming, So I wouldn't say it's affected business at all or anything.
The USDA, that is US Department of Agriculture, has projected a 41.1% increase in egg prices for 2025, with some estimates suggesting they could rise by as much as 74.9% before stabilizing. While there is a hope that prices will drop in the latter half of the year, this depends heavily on controlling the avian flu outbreak and improving supply chain efficiency. Before February 2022, the average cost of a dozen had largely stayed below $2 since March 2016. Then, the price of eggs more than doubled from the beginning of 2022 until hitting a peak of $4.82 per dozen in January 2023. A new price record was set in January 2025 at $4.95 per dozen. According to reports, it is expected to go up to $12 a dozen within this year alone. Now let's talk about avian influenza. The virus has led to the widespread culling of hens, reducing egg production and creating shortages. Farms that have been affected face months, if not years, of recovery before they can reach previous production levels. Even in areas where the bird flu hasn't hit as hard, supply chain problems are making it difficult to distribute eggs efficiently. Labor shortages in the trucking and agriculture industries, increased fuel costs, and logistical bottlenecks have slowed down egg deliveries, contributing to the price surge. Desperate for cheaper alternatives, some Americans are turning to cross-border smuggling. In Mexico, eggs remain more affordable, prompting a surge in attempts to bring them into the US illegally. US Customs and Border Protection, that is CBP, has reported a 29% increase in egg seizures at the border since late 2024 as individuals attempt to bypass import restrictions. But is smuggling eggs really the answer to this crisis, or does it introduce new risks and complications? Smuggling eggs is not only illegal but also risky. Raw eggs can carry diseases, including avian flu, which poses a threat to both consumers and the US poultry industry. Those caught smuggling eggs face fines and potential legal consequences. Border officials have ramped up enforcement efforts, warning travelers that bringing in eggs from Mexico without proper authorization is a violation of agricultural import laws. In response to the increased smuggling, CBP has increased surveillance at border crossings and implemented stricter penalties for offenders. Trump administration has announced a plan to boost domestic egg production through financial incentives for farmers, investments in poultry disease prevention, and policies to lower the cost of poultry feed. These measures aim to stabilize the market and bring prices down. In fact, a new $1 billion plan outlined by the Trump administration aims to combat bird flu and ultimately bring down egg prices. This is according to US Department of Agriculture. Most of the funds would go towards providing additional relief to farmers affected by outbreaks and expanding an existing biosecurity program to improve safety measures at egg-laying facilities across the country. And some of the money would be used to research a vaccine, cut regulations, and explore egg import options. To mitigate the shortage, the US has struck a deal with Turkey to import eggs, with shipments expected to continue through mid-2025. While this may provide temporary relief, experts argue that long-term solutions must focus on rebuilding domestic production capacity. The USDA predicts that as the year progresses, supply levels will begin to recover and prices should start to decrease. However, much depends on whether the avian flu outbreak is brought under control and whether logistical challenges are resolved. Skyrocketing cost of eggs in the United States of America is the result of a perfect storm. Avian influenza, supply chain issues mixed with rising feed costs, and seasonal demand fluctuations. These factors have placed immense pressure on consumers, businesses, and policymakers alike. The surge in egg smuggling from Mexico is not just a reflection of how desperate the situation is, it is also one that highlights the legal and health risks associated with circumventing agricultural regulations. While government initiatives and international agreements offer some hope for relief, the question remains, will these efforts be enough to stabilize the market, or are American consumers destined to face an extended period of egg scarcity and high prices? What is Donald Trump going to do about the rise in egg prices and smuggling from none other than Mexico? Thank you for watching Statecraft.